Hello and welcome to the Investing Bros. Markets seem to be completely shrugging off this bearish news from China as the Evergrande Bank gets an order from the High Court of Hong Kong to go ahead and begin liquidating its assets. That, of course, is being shrugged off by the markets, as I said. Let's take a look here at the Bitcoin chart. I've got it pulled up right here, and it is absolutely insane. Take a look at it. Right here, you can see Bitcoin up and to the right, now closing in on what could be 44,000, but right now rocking out at 43,000. I'm on the weekly time frame just to kind of illustrate how far we have come, guys. Just not too long ago in October, we were at 27,000, and we were even seeing lows at 25,000 in October. Now, we haven't pushed higher than this wick back here in early January, right, up to 49,000, just shy of 50,000, right? But we are potentially right now with this move higher, and I'll go down to the daily, I'll even go down to the 4-hour. We're with this move higher today, we are actually starting to ask the question, is it more than a dead cat bounce? As you can see right here, it's easy to draw. This could be interpreted as an inverted head and shoulders. That could play out quite nicely to the upside, of course. And then if we go over to the daily chart, we do get some significance because we have, as I reported this morning at 9 a.m., we were really struggling to push through the midline of the Bollinger Bands here on the daily chart. That has been thoroughly penetrated through, and now it is moving to the upside. 43, could even see 44,000 by the end of the day. We shall see. Also, for those of you who are familiar with the Lux ALGO indicators, you can see here that we are actually getting some bullishness as well as the hyperwave has crossed above that 50 line, right? So signaling some bullish momentum is on the come up. We did get that green dot here. And we also got a green momentum shift here out on the daily at least. So things looking bullish all across the board. Now I want to go back out to the weekly. A little bit of cold water on all the hopium that's going around right now, which is that we are looking like we're going to be getting an imminent bear cross here on the MACD lines on the weekly, right? If you zoom out here, you can see that the last time we got a bear cross at these levels. Let's check in on where this was. Back here, this was kind of at the end here of the bull market of 2021. Now, of course, we're going to be looking into the news. We're going to be listening to some very bullish predictions from none other than Anthony Scaramucci, and we're going to be kind of piecing all of this together. But what do you make of it so far? Let me know in the live chat. What does this look like to you? Is it still a dead cat bounce here, or are we actually starting to see something different? Are the institutional investors going ahead and pushing the price for Bitcoin higher here, or are these just crypto whales, folks who are very familiar with the crypto markets? Are they just coming in and trying to push the price higher so that they can short sell and scoop all of your Bitcoin up at a lower price later on? That is the question. Let me know. What do you think? Is it a dead cat bounce, or has it evolved into something more? I would love to see what you are saying in the chat. But as of right now, we are getting pretty bearish momentum here. Even down on the 4-hour, we got a nice bounce off the midline of the Bollinger Band, and we're moving. Money flow showing green on the 4-hour. And we got even a nice little green dot there on the Lux ALGO oscillator matrix is coming through for us, showing bullishness. I will say on the 4-hour we did get a little reversal dot up there, so something to keep in mind. And we are pushing another potentially bearish thing as well. So we are pushing the upper band of that Bollinger Band. That is not necessarily a bullish sign, but it is an early indicator of overbought, right? Well, Bitcoin, very volatile, so just because it says overbought by traditional indicators doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to see a slowdown. Right now, as I'm speaking, we are making a push on the 4-hour up to this previous 4-hour wick candlestick. So can we get back up above 43,000, print a candlestick above that? If we could, then that continues the day bullish. As of now, I'm expecting probably a little more sideways movement and probably a retrace down to these levels back here at 42.5 and then a push higher. Or, we test those levels and we do not break through and we get a push lower. So let's check in on the chat. That's some quick TA. Guys, it's bullish. It's bullish news. I think right now there's a good chance that the lows are in, meaning that was not a dead count bounce. And this inverted head and shoulders is going to be interpreted by money managers as saying, hey, look, we've got this ETF here at Fidelity. We've got this Bitcoin ETF here at BlackRock. You've been my client for 20 years. I've never steered you wrong. I think this is the time to make a serious 1, 2, 3, 10% allocation into Bitcoin. I don't know if we're going to see these prices lower than this. And that's the simple sale. And if I'm confident in that, right, as a money manager, as a financial advisor, I think this is the time to pull the trigger. Now, I could be completely way off on that. Big money may not be waiting to get in until 35. If they're stubborn, they really want to see 35, there is a chance of that. But guys, it's looking bullish to me. Let's go ahead and check in on the chat and see if there's a similar sentiment. Blackie Chan saying, good afternoon, bros. You got to love it. Dylan Martinez dropping the yo. And let's see, we got Joe Nickel saying, hey, bros, feeling good on this green day. I know I am too. It's good to see everybody in the chat here. Let's see who else we've got. Ninja Glock throwing up the high. Big Matt C coming in saying, let's go. And Gia S saying, hello, hello. So you gotta love it. Let's see who else is in here. Rhinoceros. Rick Nachos. I completely misread that the first time. He said, don't know about fundamentals and indicators, but I think we're about to make another impulsive move up, according to my Elliott Wave count. So we've got an Elliott Wave analyst in the chat kind of throwing up some insights on that. Eric Wallen saying, hey, everyone, 40 to 41 next. If we go down, buy back up over 50,000. Okay. That's a pretty interesting case as well. So let's see what else we got. Matt said, T-Shroom, I still think we have another leg down before the halving, maybe in the next 30 days. Could be. Could very well be. We shall see. We're going to look at some news. We're going to definitely return to the charts before it's all said and done. Mike Play said he's buying. Mike Play said he's buying. I'm assuming you mean lunch. You're buying my lunch. Thank you so much, Mike Play. Really appreciate it. Of course, that is a little bit of humor. Guys, where is Tim? What is going on with Tim? He's sick. He is sick. It happens to the best of us. Even the most sophisticated technical analysts get sick too, right? So be praying for him. He'll have a swift recovery. I reminded him, get some Gatorade, get some Powerade, whatever it is, and stay hydrated and get plenty of sleep. So there it is. I also told him, look, there's not enough people scrolling through social media and looking at these memes. Do the world a favor and look at a couple of memes, right? Have a giggle, have a laugh. It'll make you feel better, and it'll help these social media content creators really get a feeling of self-worth. I think that's going to help them out a little bit. We got a question here from Gustavo. Said, question, T-Shroom, I'm tired of XRP. I have been selling it, and now I have a small bag of 800. Should I move it to Bitcoin? Gustavo, the ultimate question here. Should you rotate out of one asset and into another asset? I think XRP has more upside potential in the bull run than Bitcoin. However, XRP specifically, I have been seeing signs that it will not do as well as names like AVAX and Solana and Cardano and even Ethereum. Okay, so if you're just asking the question, I want to buy Bitcoin and I have liquidity in XRP, is it worth selling XRP to buy Bitcoin? If you're going just for gains, I think XRP probably has more upside in the bull run. For Bitcoin, I think it's just a safer bet, right? There's some things that XRP looks like they have on the roadmap, potentially IPOing on the New York Stock Exchange. That could potentially have a negative effect on the XRP price. We don't know. XLM, a major competitor, other ISO 22,000 coins could potentially do pretty well. Here in the next few months, there could be some big news on that. That could give XRP a run for their money. It's kind of anybody's guess, but I would say that XRP does seem to be kind of falling out of favor with the crypto community as a whole. Now, of course, the XRP Army is going to have a lot to say about that, and maybe they will in the chat. Maybe one of the members of the very outspoken XRP Army will present an argument for why you should hold XRP, but that's probably not what I would lean towards here. Not financial advice. Great question. Gustavo. Eric Wallen chiming in here. So there's some folks in the chat who actually have an opinion on whether or not Gustavo should part with his XRP and rotate into Bitcoin. So let's see what those opinions are here. Eric Wallen saying sell XRP for Sol, Sui, and Say. The 3 S's there from Eric Wallen. Do you agree with that? Let me know in the chat. Do you think Eric Wallen's making the right call, or are there some better altcoins perhaps that could be rotated into from XRP? Also seeing Servando Estrada in the chat, everybody's favorite name. That is just the most fun name to say. Say it with me. Servando Estrada. It's a lot of fun. And we have fun here on the Investing Bros. All right, guys, I think it's just about time to get into the news. Mr. J saying, hey, crew, and Gustavo thankful for the moment of focus on his specific financial situation. Of course, nothing that you hear on the Investing Bros is financial advice, right? That's not why we're here. We're here to entertain, we're here to inform, and we're here to bro out. Well, some folks who aren't broing out is the executives over at Evergrande, because those folks are going to be sweating and working very hard with their legal team to try not to go to jail. No, I don't think there's any criminal aspect to this, but let's take a look here at the headlines. A Hong Kong court has ruled that Evergrande, China's largest real estate developer, must be liquidated. The stock is now down another 20%. I don't know where it is by now. This is somewhat old data, so it's probably, well, it's been halted, right? So they had to halt it, but it was starting to sell off pretty heavy. Evergrande is now considered the most indebted property developer in the world. Wow. This comes at a time when China's real estate index is down 85% in 2 years. China is also preparing hundreds of billions in economic stimulus, along with considering a ban on short selling. What is happening in China? So that is kind of the question that the market was asking today, and the market responded with up and to the right. Let's take a look here at the Qs. The Qs not really seeming, them on the 4-hour, not seeming to be phased too much by this. You can see I'm here on the 29th, and we're getting a green candlestick, all right? So it's, somewhat business as usual. Now, there's a couple of factors of why that may be, right, and why the markets are not going ahead and pricing in this news. There's a couple of reasons for that. One, it could have been baked in, right? And so that is not new news to the big whales of money, right, that decide whether price go up or price go down on assets and indexes on any given day. I do happen to believe, but I could be wrong, that actually this Evergrande liquidation result was somewhat priced in. Of course, it couldn't have been 100% priced in because the court could have gone in the opposite direction. They could have given them another chance to try to avoid default and liquidation. That wasn't the case here. I think most major money managers were kind of reading the tea leaves, so to speak, of what was going to happen in Hong Kong, and they went ahead and probably divested as much as they could. Now, on the morning show, I went into much more detail on this, but ultimately, my reading of this is that the international investment in Evergrande is actually somewhat limited. I believe the figure was around $2 billion of the $300 billion, right? Which leaves the vast majority to be domestic, therefore China. So the massive economic fallout of this is going to be mostly felt by the Chinese people. And that sucks, right? Those are real people who have real lives. They're going to be people who really, really suffer from this. And it's sad, and it's easy for me to just get online and talk about it, but there's going to be real pain from this, and it sucks. And, it's the result of mismanagement. It's also the result of poor financial modeling. You can try to point a finger at who or why or what's at fault here, but ultimately people are going to suffer, right? But the American markets and the European markets today are not pricing in that is going to bleed in to the rest of the economy. And that seems to include crypto today, as Bitcoin does seem to be up and to the right. So that's the first thing. The second thing, is that we've got the Fed. We've got the Fed coming up on Wednesday. They're meeting tomorrow, and then they will come out from their extremely sophisticated lair where they do all of their very sophisticated communications, and they say, should we hike? Should we not hike? Should we cut? Should we not cut? And they have these conversations, and they go back and forth. Should we cut? Should we hike? Should we pause? And they go back and forth, and they say, well, let's go back and look at the data again. And they look at the data, and they say, now given the data, should we cut or should we hike? Or should we pause? And they say, maybe let's take a look at some other data. And then they look at that data, and okay, you see how this goes. On Wednesday, they're going to come and they're going to say, now, upon pondering whether or not we should hike, cut, or pause, this is what we're going to do. They're going to present that to the market, and the market's going to say, buy, 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 sell, 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 or I'm going back to sleep. And we're going to see what happens. I think that is a much stronger gravitational force today on markets price going up or down. And also, the third thing is earnings season. Earnings season's coming in, and corporations are more than likely going to be outperforming estimates of what they have been, how efficiently they have been returning profits to shareholders. So those are the three forces right now that are really, really impacting markets. Of course, that Evergrande headline kind of being the black swan coming in and kind of walloping the market, at least in the morning. And it doesn't seem to have trickled into the actual trading day for New York, and it doesn't look like the end of the trading day for Europe. So that is kind of the conclusion there. Obviously, the Fed decision is going to be pretty big, pretty pivotal. Tim and I will be discussing that more tomorrow, and obviously we'll be breaking that down. Now, we have a guest coming on Wednesday to talk about this with us, and it's Bitcoin Ben. If you don't know who Bitcoin Ben is, it's going to be really interesting to have him on. We actually met up with him at an event recently down in Naples, Florida at Bitcoin Day, where we had a ton of fun. He's going to come on and he's going to help us break down the Fed event, so the Fed decision, and that's going to be a lot of fun. Bitcoin Ben has some really interesting theories on BlackRock's participation in the spot Bitcoin ETF and kind of the positioning that Wall Street may be getting itself into in preparation for the digitization of money, assets, and things, and debt as well too. So we'll be listening into what Bitcoin Ben has to say. It's going to be a lot of fun, not to be confused with another Ben in Bitcoin. It's a different Ben, different Bitcoin. Same Bitcoin, actually, different Ben. All right, so let's go ahead and let's move further into the news here. We learned about what the Cabesi letter was bringing us, which is that Evergrande being forced to liquidate. Now let's keep moving because on the same day, we're getting this headline. Hong Kong, okay, we're not leaving Asia here. Hong Kong gets spot Bitcoin ETF application, stablecoin interest from China's Harvest Global. Now, they already had Venture Smart Financing Holdings, a Hong Kong firm, that said it will file a spot Bitcoin ETF application and hopes to start trading during the first quarter of 2024. Then Bloomberg reported that earlier this month. So that is actually pretty interesting, guys, is that on the same day that a big yuan, TradFi fiat institution of Evergrande, this gigantic real estate development bank, is saying, yeah, we're having to close up shop. We're liquidating, returning assets back to the shareholders. We're done. Bitcoin is just getting started. Now, Asia's tricky. China especially is very tricky. It's not going to be so black and white. It's going to be complicated. But, these funds think that they can see trading for spot Bitcoin ETFs as early as Q1 of this year. So that could be pretty bullish if that goes through. Absolutely, here at the Investing Bros, we'll be monitoring that situation and bringing it to your attention. Well, that's not the only bullish news, but we'll come back to the United States, where Anthony Scaramucci is predicting Bitcoin to hit at least $170,000 per coin post-halving. And he's got some things to say about Larry Fink as well. Let's dive in. He said, go back and look at Bitcoin's halving cycles. Okay, Scaramucci said on the Scott Melker podcast, the day that Bitcoin halves, multiply it by 4, and 18 months later, and it's been uncanny. That's been the price of Bitcoin. So he's running some math and showing it's actually not that complicated to predict the price of Bitcoin. Now, what you guys are noticing, take a quick tangent. These are now live. The GBTC, advertising. I feel like I've been seeing them for a long time, but apparently it's a big news. I'm seeing it everywhere that Google is allowing crypto ads, right? And specifically Bitcoin. ETFs. So here they are. You're seeing, this is an ad. This isn't something I've pulled up. Here's another one, GBTC for. So anyway, there you go. Back to Scaramucci's quotation. He said, I'm using a 35,000 number at the halving, and that's conservative. Let's say we're at 50,000 in April, then it's a 200,000 handle. Let's say we're at 60,000, it would be a 240,000 handle. So he's using this simple calculation here of multiplying the price per coin at the halving, and then 18 months later, it's multiplied by 4, right? And according to Anthony Scaramucci, it's been uncanny that has been accurate. So very, very interesting. I'd love to know in the chat, do you think that is consistent? Do you think that that's true? He's got some comments here as well on Larry Fink. Guys, let me know. What do you think of Larry Fink at this point? I want to hear what you have to say, because Larry Fink, very famous CEO of BlackRock. A lot of people hate him. And a lot of people have made a lot of money off of him, and they love him, right? Crypto, Bitcoiners, seem to be in one category of hating Larry Fink, right? Because he called Bitcoin basically a tool that's only useful for criminals, right? And then he changed about 6 months later his position, and now everybody kind of loves him. Not everybody, but most Bitcoiners kind of love him because he is bringing Bitcoin to prime time. He's bringing the spot Bitcoin ETFs to the NASDAQ, to the New York Stock Exchange, and saying, hey, now everybody can buy it, right? And not just BlackRock, obviously 8 other ETF providers. So what does Anthony Scaramucci have to say about Larry Fink? But I want to know what you have to think, what you think about the Fink. What do you think about the Fink? Let me know in the chat. Anthony says, I'm going to give Larry a lot of credit because Larry actually did the homework on Bitcoin. It takes a very smart leader to pridefully say that Bitcoin sucks, and then 24 months later say, you know what, I got this wrong. BlackRock needs to be a part of this. So it is a very big deal, and Anthony Scaramucci kind of pointing out that Larry Fink is kind of the leader that Wall Street, traditional Wall Street, right? Don't picture, the intern, the 25, 23-year-old intern of Wall Street. Picture the traditional, 35 and up Wall Street operator who's looking at Bitcoin and it's like, what? It's a bunch of encrypted code. How is that worth $50,000 a coin, right? Larry Fink, he's done the work. He's done the work here, folks. He's taken the time to do the research, understand it, and be able to communicate that to Wall Street and provide a vessel that they're familiar with, known as an ETF. Well, that's Anthony Scaramucci's take. Let's go ahead and take a look now on how those ETFs have been performing. Bitcoin Archive is bringing it to us here. Update from Grayscale's outflows of 5 billion have been absorbed by other Bitcoin ETFs, taking on 5.8 billion. Right? What's that difference? Anybody want to let me know what the difference here? That math. So that's 759 million. Precisely, this was obviously a rounded number, net Bitcoin ETF inflows. That and that information comes from Bloomberg analyst James Seifert, of course, the guiding light. And if it's not James, it's who? Eric Wilconis, of course. I could hear you guys through the YouTube. The YouTube is letting information flow both ways now. So everything, by the way, when you guys are talking, I can hear everything. So just kidding. I can't hear anything. For those paranoid folks in the back, I can't actually hear you. All right, so let's take a look here at the inflows, the outflows. So the inflows here for Grayscale, you can see at 2 billion here, 2 billion assets under management. Those assets, of course, Bitcoin. I'm sorry, that's 20 billion, and that's Grayscale, and that is getting close to ticking back down into the teens, right? That it would be 19 billion. That is getting close, and I would predict that is eventually going to happen. Probably going to be settling around the high teens as folks do continue to sell their GBTC or rotate out their liquidity out of GBTC and rotate into the sidelines to get back into Bitcoin, or rotate right back into Bitcoin, or rotate into Tesla or wherever else they want to buy, right? Or a coin laundry down the street in West Philadelphia. Who knows what it is that they're rotating into, but they're rotating out of Grayscale, and that's what's important. But meanwhile, as you can see here by this chart, there is plenty of rotation back into Bitcoin, whether that came from GBTC or that came from sale, and liquidation of other assets to be purchasing these Bitcoin ETFs. Regardless, folks, Money is flowing into Bitcoin faster than it's flowing out, and we're starting to see that finally reflected in the price of Bitcoin. But the question does still remain. Is it a dead cat bounce? We've got one more story here, and this has almost nothing to do with Bitcoin, but Solana's Jupiter DEX surpasses Uniswap in trading volume. So this is true, but what I'll point out is that Uniswap is not the only DEX for Ethereum. So it's not like Solana's Jupiter DEX has surpassed all of Ethereum's decentralized swapping. No, that's not what's going on here. It's just past Uniswap. However, this is pretty impressive. And if there is a headline today that's indicating which coin's going to be the Ethereum killer, Solana would have to take the cake. But the race is not over. The race is far from over to see who's going to be the Ethereum killer. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments. Do you even care about the Ethereum killer narrative anymore? Is that one that we're going to leave in the last bull cycle of 2020? Or are we going to bring it back? Is there going to be an Ethereum killer? And which coin is it going to be? You let me know. I'm seeing a lot of bullishness around ICP, Internet Computer Ecosystem. They seem to be very popular right now. My question is, how much of that popularity is paid popularity, meaning people interested in seeing ICP price go up are paying media sources to see that price go up, and how much of it is organic? How many people, investors and traders looking at ICP saying, this is a project that is undervalued, I'm going to buy it, and not being prompted to do so by a paid piece of media? I don't know. I don't know, right? Of course, I don't know, but I have a feeling that ICP is not going to be the Ethereum killer. I have taken a little bit of a look. We had some bros saying, hey, let's take a look at ICP. Let's do a deep dive. I wouldn't say I did a deep dive, right? But I did look into it, and it does look like the technology is pretty impressive. But I just don't know if it's going to really be the Ethereum killer, right, that everyone thinks it is. I don't know if that's going to be in the cards. All right, folks, let's go ahead and throw it to the bros. You all go ahead and make some suggestions. I don't think that this show is going to go the full hour, just because Tim is usually here and we're usually chatting way more about these stories, kind of getting his take and also taking a look at the charts. But I'm not going to leave you hanging. We're going to take a look at the charts. But before we do, go ahead and throw me some tickers that you'd like me to take a look at on the stock side or the crypto side. We'll take a look at them. First, let's look at the bubbles. That is a sea of green, folks, and that is on the daily, right? Let's go to the hourly really quick. Oh, and on the hourly, we're actually seeing a little bit of a correction. Caspa holding on there. But on the hourly, we are seeing a little bit of a pullback. And on the daily, we're seeing quite a bit of a surge higher here. SUI looking like it's leading the market. Ordinals up 9.5%. And Cardano actually doing very, very well today. So ADA doing up 7.5%, doing really well. Actually beating Injective, beating Render, and Mina and Tia, a lot of other very bullish names, even beating Chainlink. So the only ones that it's trailing are Ordi and SUI. Ordi, I will say, got a call out from your boy, T-Shroom, on the Saturday show. That was my meme coin selection for the bull run. And then second only to... No, I actually have more Ordi than I do Dogecoin. So Ordi is kind of my meme of choice. I think that there's a lot of folks who are going to get it confused with the utility token because it does seem to be very tied in with the utility aspect of the ordinals community. But I think Ordi is a nice crescendo to the meme verse that is ordinals, and that is why I think it's going to do pretty well. Will there be other meme coins that do better? Probably, but I like Ordi. It's just right for me. A little bit of a Goldilocks meme, I suppose. All right, guys, well, let's go ahead and dive on into the charts. Let me take a look and see if there are any suggestions. Gustavo jumping out saying Caspa or Beam. So I guess leaving it up to me. That is dangerous. Leaving it up to T-Shroom to make the choice. Matt C said, Wallen, are you still heavy in SUI? I think Eric is still heavy in SUI. Blackie Chan saying Adam. I will take a look at Adam. Get him in quick, guys. Go take a look at Caspa. I don't know what ICX is. I'm going to have to pass on that one. I'm sorry, Mikey V. I'm sorry about that. We'll take a look at SUI. Let's see. Oh, a mellow fellow has chimed in on the ETH killer narrative. Let's see what he's got to say. A mellow fellow said, I used to not believe in the ETH killer narrative, But as the price increases and gas goes up, I understand the reason behind why there's a good opportunity there. Yeah, there absolutely is an opportunity. The real question is dank sharding going to fix, right, Ethereum? Is it going to fix Ethereum? Full stop. If it does, then there may never be an Ethereum killer, right? Or at least in the next 200 years. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to be keep our eyes tuned into that one for sure to see who will be the ETH killer. And then maybe we'll take a look at what Print on Solana. I think Print, I don't know if that's a meme coin or a utility coin, but we'll take a look at it. All right, I think we're going to cut it off there. Chainlink also getting thrown out. So we'll see how many of these I can get through. First is going to be Atom. So Atom's actually one I've got on my watch list here. I'm always keeping my eye on Atom. I do have a little bit of Atom here. Not a ton, but I have a decent amount of Atom. All right, so take a look here. Let's see. I'm out on the 4-hour chart. Maybe we'll start on the weekly here. Let's see what we can't gauge. Just kind of getting an idea. So it's had a nice spike up pretty recently, and it followed along with this hammer candle for last week. You know, where crypto was testing lower. Bitcoin was kind of testing that CME futures gap, closed it, and now you can kind of see a resumption up, which is one of the indicators I will say. I know we're looking at Atom, but one of the reasons why a lot of folks think that Bitcoin is actually not a dead cat bounce right now, because it just needed to close those. I'll just pull up the CME futures here. It just needed to close this gap here, illustrated by the green. It did that. I don't know if that counts though, or if we need to get a candlestick close on the weekly for that. I don't know. So anyway, we're supposed to be looking at Atom. Let's go look at Atom. Overall here, we're seeing it move essentially. I pointed that out because it was moving essentially like Bitcoin. I'll say the money flow here on ALGO is moving in the right direction. We just got a decent correction here on the weekly, at least according to the hyperwave. So I would say that this is now kind of gone past its overbought phase. And it's kind of, but it's also been able to remain above the midline of the Bollinger Band, right? And then also the hyperwave has been able to just barely stay above the 50 line here. So that's what I'd be watching is, can it remain above the 50 line? Probably not. We did see Atom be able to stay here and play along and move a little bit higher here before coming back, testing it, retesting it, flipping it, and then coming back and going moving higher, right? But ultimately, we want to see a good healthy bounce off. Now it's going to come along with the rest of Bitcoin, but you're asking, should you buy it? Should you trade it right now? I'm sure. So let's go down to the 4-hour. Let's see. I don't know that I want to go too much deeper than the 4-hour. Here on the 4-hour, I'm seeing, relative to the rest of the month, it is kind of in an underbought spot, I would say, overall. Nothing really jumping out at me though, other than it's kind of in a channel here, an uptrending channel that potentially will break out. I just don't know. I mean, right now it's kind of at the bottom of that channel, hanging out. So, if it can come back up and test probably around, $10 per coin, and then see if it can't time it right to coincide with a big push in crypto, which it might be getting close to, then we might see a breakout here for Atom. But as of right now, I don't think that there's a huge compelling reason for me to buy this outside of just a regular DCA. Atom, of course, an interoperability coin that has a lot of potential, and I don't have any reason to think that it won't do well in the bull market. In the 4-hour, it is getting a nice bull cross here above the 0 line of the MACD. However, and you're also getting a nice little green sprout there, right? But that probably has a lot more to do with Bitcoin and just the general crypto market than it does Atom specifically. So overall, Atom not really jumping out at me one way or another, but it's just a good coin to healthy DCA. Let's take a look at Kaspa. Kaspa is a different story. So with Kaspa, I do want to start on the daily chart because for Kaspa, to me, it's all about its proximity to this box, right? We saw it come back here and test it in late December. We saw it test it in mid-January. Couldn't get a candle close above 12.5, right? And if you've been watching Investing Bros, you've been watching my 9 a.m. shows, it's not that I've abandoned hope. that's far from reality. And in fact, I actually just bought a decent amount of Caspa. But it's not looking like it's going to make that test soon. As you can see right here, right now, on the daily chart, fighting to even get back above the midline of the Bollinger Band, right? Which is the story that Bitcoin just triumphed, right? I mean, we got to get a daily close on this candlestick above the midline, right? But Bitcoin just had that triumph, right, on that battleground of the midline of the Bollinger Band. However, if we go back to Caspa, it's not yet done that, right? It had a wick higher, just like Bitcoin did, hasn't been able to push. So the stories are pretty similar of the two proof of work coins. Money flow moving in the right direction here, coming out of negative money flow, but it's overall, I think this is kind of a wait and see. I think you would want to, if you can, try and get it back in the nines, Caspa, right? I do think that we might see another push back down to 9, especially if Bitcoin remains sideways as it is now. But if you don't have any exposure to Caspa, Caspa is actually one of my top picks for the bull market. I think it's going to do the best. Yeah, I think it has a chance of getting in the top 5. And that shouldn't be news to anybody who's been watching Investing Bros. You're getting a nice bullish cross here on the MACD lines. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out at a time where, that's not been the case on a lot of other coins. What we were just looking at, Atom, sorry, that's XRP. No, that's about it. That's about in line with a lot of the other coins. So Caspa, again, this one doesn't look like something that's like screaming that this is going to have a big push anytime soon, right? It hasn't really deviated too much from the rest of crypto. All right, that's Caspa. Let's look at Sui. This is one that's not on my watch list. Sui, let's take a look. All right. So Sui doing really well. Sui has been quite the success story of January so far, I would say. In fact, let's go look at the bubbles. I think of the month of January, this is just 30 days. Yeah, Sui is a standout name, up 99% month to date. So doing really well. It's hard to take away. This is the best coin, right? Of the top 100, according to Crypto Bubbles, Sui is the best coin, right? For this market is absolutely cannot get enough of Sui. And you can see on this chart, while Bitcoin, on the daily was kind of fighting to get up above that midline, Sui is having this nice springy, almost rabbit-like, just hopping along the rabbit trail here on the midline of the Bollinger Band. Real healthy relationship with it, really staying above it. It's been above that midline of the Bollinger Band. Didn't close a candle below it, meaning the whole candlestick on the daily at least below it, since back here in mid-December, right? So it's had bulls really kind of taking control and pushing it higher. And that's illustrated here in the MACD as well, as with each cross, it just keeps pushing higher, right? Whether it be bullish or a bearish cross, it just keeps going higher. So this is something that investors are taking a look at, and they're saying, I want more of this. I think a nice pullback here for Sui, even back to the Bollinger Band line, about 20% pullback, which is in the cards for a volatile asset like Sui. I think that could be a pretty good buy, right? I don't have any exposure to Sui. Do I wish I did? Yeah, because it's something that's going up. But this is actually, I want to take a moment here, because this is an important lesson, which is this. There's like thousands of cryptos, and there's cryptos that you don't even know about that are going to do thousands and thousands of X, right? You have to be honest with yourself about the amount of time that you have to spend, right? You're tuned into a YouTube channel right now, and you're getting my opinion, and that's great. There's a lot of other YouTube channels that'll tell you about coins that they think are going to do really, really well, and they're probably going to be right, in some sense. Maybe they'll be wrong. But ultimately, you have to be honest with yourself about how much time you are actually putting in to be convicted about your investments. Bitcoin is the big one, right? You don't want to be lacking in exposure to Bitcoin, in my opinion, right? But every other coin, if you only have an hour a month to put towards crypto, you're tuning into the Investing Bros once a month. It's very questionable whether or not you should be going down the risk curve very much, right? Ethereum, I can understand, a Cardano, a Solana, Chainlink play, I can kind of understand. But if you're not putting in more than an hour a month into understanding crypto, then that's, you really don't want to be taking your chances on these smaller cap coins, in my opinion, because there's just no way you can know what the market is lying about and what it's being truthful about. And I don't mean the price. I mean YouTube, the information market, the media market, right? Folks that are telling you that this is going to be a good coin, that's going to be a bad coin. But when investors are looking at SUI again and again, they're seeing value in this coin, right? So this is one that if I do see a pretty big pullback, I may make an allocation. But I think just a 20% pullback, if you like it, if you like what SUI is all about, that would be a good time probably to go ahead and get a bag. But I'm just gonna cheer on. Like, I think Eric Wallen has a decent amount of this. I'm just gonna cheer him on. He's winning, right? And then when my bags do well, I hope that bros are cheering for me too. That's the kind of the way that I think about it. I'm not someone who wants to jump off the train that I'm on to jump onto another train just because it's going faster right now, right? The crypto markets are so volatile, so unpredictable. You never know when, let's say you have a lot of Solana, right? You never know when Solana is going to take off, right? Just as much as Cardano or Litecoin or whatever it's going to be, Binance coin. So don't get caught up in trying to chase the latest and greatest coin that's popping up on the crypto bubbles sheet. Stick to what you're convicted about, right? And don't stop doing research. That doesn't mean just buy it and forget it, right? Unless it's Bitcoin, which is pretty safe bet. But there's some coins that do kind of well, every once in a while, but ultimately their long-term potential is kind of under question, right? So don't stop doing research. Don't stop trying to refresh your understanding and keep up to date, and staying tuned to a channel like this, like Investing Bros, I think is an excellent way to do that, right? Because I am nonstop. It's not 1 hour a month. I'm nonstop researching crypto. And when I'm not researching crypto, I'm researching stocks, right? Or I'm talking to people about crypto. So you're making the right choices here. Investors are taking a look at SUI and they're liking what they see. Let's move on to Solana. Solana, one I just mentioned here. Another one that investors just cannot get enough of. Over the last couple days, though, we have not been able to escape red MACD line histograms. So it is until today. Look at this bull cross. Oh my gosh. So this is a really deep bow here from the blue line coming in and finally sprouting a green histogram. This could be a pretty big moment for, I want to see if it has crossed through some pretty obvious resistance. Yeah. So this one's kind of snuck by me. I've been able to kind of scramble and pick up some Solana. Solana's one that I did not have exposure to, and I will admit that I was way underexposed, and I'm still kind of catching up. But Solana is one that I don't know. I think it's probably going to push higher before I can really pack my bags with it. So that's one that I'm really kind of scratching my head, like, how did I miss out on that one? How didn't I see it? But the thing is like, I can't blame myself, right? Because I was stuck to my beliefs, I stuck to my convictions. And really where I went with Solana not being the best blockchain, really where I went wrong was that I wasn't continually refreshing my understanding of these other altcoin opportunities, right? So that's where I think I went wrong. That's where I can improve. But on the charts, man, Solana is just impressive. Now, unlike SUI on the daily chart, Solana has spent a decent amount of time under this midline of the Bollinger Band, right? So that's something to keep in mind. And I think that has less to do with the fact that Solana's not bullish. I think it has more to do with the fact that it's probably overbought, right? So investors came in and they just couldn't get enough of it to an unhealthy point, right? All through here, you did not see a candlestick close below the midline of the Bollinger Band. It was only until early January that it started to cool off. Investors said, hey, maybe the psychological number of $100 per coin is kind of a nice place to park this valuation. And that's kind of where the market's liked it. Right now, we're coming back up and testing that question, right? Is Solana worth more than $100 per coin? That's the question right now. That's the battlefield, right? And if the answer is yes, it's going to push up above that top line of the Bollinger Band, expand it out, and we're going to get some volatility on Solana to the upside. Got a super chat here. Oh, man. I'm not really sure what this is, but it's $2. It says all the way Inu. $2 from all the way Inu. Nintendo on Solana, 25K MC community driven strong AF. Strong Air Force, I guess is the acronym there. I'm not familiar with that. So look, people donate money. I give them a little bit of a moment, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it. people who come on and pay to promote their project that they're invested in, you know, I don't recommend it. I think that's probably not something you should look into, or you can look into it, but it's probably not. It's not something I'm going to invest in, right? So, but I will say thank you for the donation, and I encourage super chats very much. Thank you so much. All right, let's take a look here at Print Coin. Print on Solana. All right, so Print. Oh man, this one's gonna be pretty small. I'm not seeing too many charts for it. And I also don't know. Look at what print on Solana. Let me take a minute here. We do have a little bit of time left in the show. Let me make sure I'm getting the ticker right. What I'm looking for here is I want to see a somewhat large market cap on CoinMarketCap. I clicked a Google search result link. $15 million coin. If this is the coin you're talking about, I don't really need to look at it on the charts. I'm just going to look at it here on CoinMarketCap because this is a very small cap, right? This is in the gem hunter territory. Not saying this is a gem because I have no idea. Let's see what they do. So it's only available on Jupiter, right? Which is kind of like, you can think like a pancake swap for Binance Smart Chain and Ethereum, right? It's kind of the very first exchange that is going to get hit by that a new small coin is going to hit. So, you know, let's see what they do though. Price data, about, very small description here. Print Protocol is the first ever Solana rewards token, introducing Print's protocol custom hold to earn reward mechanism. Holding Print grants you continual SOL returns of 6%. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and say this one is going to require the research of someone who is a gem hunter, right? I'm not a gem hunter, but on the face of it, I would be very careful with this one, and I would avoid it, right? Doesn't mean that the research that you have done to look into this Mike play is worthless. I think you keep looking at them, take a look at them, you know, make sure you're confident. One thing I do like, although it's self-reported, is that Print has 100% circulating supply, right? I don't know if it's claiming a fair launch, but that is one indicator that it may be a fair launch. My guess is that it probably isn't because they haven't put a ton of effort into their description here. It's a little bit light for me. I mean, it's to the point. It says what it is, right? But that's a little bit uncharacteristic of what I expect on CoinMarketCap. So as far as the chart, let's go to all time. Yeah, I mean, it's basically been a stable coin, right, for the majority of its life here, at least on CoinMarketCap. So I would say this is inconclusive, and there was not really a reason to look at that on TradingView. All right, let's take a look here at the last one, Chainlink. Chainlink, a coin we can have some confidence in. All right, thank you. I don't necessarily hate that people put really small cap cryptos in, but just realize there's not really much utility in looking at it on TradingView when it's $15 million coin. All right. What was I going to do? Chainlink. Chainlink is a good project. All right. Yeah, so right off the bat, Chainlink has been sideways. It's been a stable coin. It's been a trader's paradise, buying the bottoms, selling the tops. It's been this way basically since November, right? Chainlink has a mind of its own, although it's kind of a top cap here in CoinMarketCap, right? Chainlink number 13, so in the top 20. You know, it's just not one that really follows the rest of the market, right? So right now it's crossing back up above the midline of the Bollinger Band on the daily chart, and it is a hefty candle, right? It's a hefty candle, and whenever we get across through the midline of the Bollinger Band, that is a recipe for potential volatility, meaning it could go up quite precipitously, right? So a move to the kind of to this upper zone would be about 10%, right? And if you're trading leverage, actually I call that, from where it is now, you might even call that 15% if you're getting the tippy top of it. But that is a trader's paradise. If you're trading leverage, you could potentially make some money there. Be careful. But if you are trading leverage, use Blowfin. We've got a link for Blowfin in the very description of this video that you're watching right now. Blowfin, if you're an American or you live in a country where they restrict your right to leverage trade crypto, you can actually go ahead and do it by using Blowfin. Blowfin is in our, here it is. Wait, that's not it. There it is. So it's the second link in the description. But this video is actually brought to you by decrypted.tax. If you are looking to get your taxes done by crypto experts, right? Someone who is actually knowledgeable about crypto and is also extremely knowledgeable and is an attorney in tax, look no further than decrypted.tax. You get 60 minutes free consultation. You have everything to gain and nothing to lose, really. You just go in there, chat him up. He likes to talk about crypto. Don't take up all of his time, but do make sure that you mention that the Investing Bros sent you, and you're going to have a great time. Now, that is really, really good. And so if you're going to be leverage trading Chainlink, I think that this is actually, of all the ones that were shouted out, I think this is probably a good trade, right? And it is not rocket science to look at this. I mean, you can draw a simple regression trend here, and you can kind of see that, you buy the lows, you sell the tops. And if you're new to trading, you're really not supposed to diddle in the middle here, right? But if you're kind of late to this trade of buying in here sub 13, you're missing the boat. But if you want to practice trading, you're going to probably have a good chance here to see some upside, make a quick buck. Now, there is also the chance that there's some thick liquidity in here somewhere that's waiting. I don't see any on my indicators. If you have to zoom out to see any kind of order blocks. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Chainlink right now, it looks like it's pretty much trading in between the equilibrium zone on the daily and this order block up here. So my guess is that as long as Bitcoin doesn't break remarkably higher and start pushing, 50,000 or 45,000 and then 50,000, probably you're going to get a nice sell opportunity if you were to buy today. All right, so that's a nice trade setup for Chainlink. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I've been T-Shroom. I have been, and I will continue to be T-Shroom in for the Investing Bros. And it's really been an honor for you all to tune in. Tim and I have been in communication. He is sick. He's not feeling great. That's why it was a solo T-Shroom takeover for today's show. But I feel like we had some fun, and we'll be doing this again 9 a.m. tomorrow Eastern Standard Time. And we've got Bitcoin Ben coming in on Wednesday to help cover that Fed decision. So that is kind of what the market's, kind of reeling over. What is going to happen here? What is going to happen? And Bitcoin Ben's going to help us sort that out. Guys, how come nobody mentioned Cardano? I gotta look at Cardano. Cardano was outperforming the market today. So let's take a look at it really quick before I leave. I was just about to close. Man, that was such a smooth transition into the close. But look at that. Look at that dominance of the midline of the Bollinger Band. Cardano looking like it was down and out, really making a comeback here. Not missing out on this. It was looking rough. Cardano was going to continue to sell off, but it is up there decidedly at 52 cents. You got to love it. As well, getting this nice bullish cross here on the daily chart and sprouting a young but promising green histogram on the MACD. You'll love to see it. So that is really, really nice. Let's see what this one looks like on the weekly as well. I want to see how that MACD is panning out. Yeah, you're getting that bear cross on the weekly though too. So there is a nice little storm cloud, right, of bearish sentiment here, at least on the MACD chart, saying, hey, you're seeing some bullishness. We've got those pension funds that are going to start buying Bitcoin and trickle into crypto. However, hold your horses, right? Because there's some momentum indicators showing, hey, let's wait. Let's see what's going on here. So I wouldn't go full bore. I'm not telling you what to do, right? I'm not deploying all of my dry powder. I'm waiting because I think the question still remains that this could be a dead cat bounce. I'm leaning towards that it's not, right? But I'm also not deploying all of my dry powder. I have been T-Shroom. Make sure that you check out decrypted.tax if you're looking to get that headache out of the way. Nobody likes doing taxes, but man, is it simple. When I do my taxes through decrypt.tax, you should absolutely go ahead and check that link out. Schedule a free consultation with Ernest and tell him that Investing Bros sent you. You'll be glad that you did. At least go check out the website. See what they've got going on there. Their website developer did a great job. You're going to like that website. And also, if you're looking to leverage trade that link play, check out Blowfin. Make an account today with the Blowfin link in our description. and you can be well on your way to riches beyond your wildest imagination. Now, definitely use stop loss, use proper risk management. But guys, we'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. and hopefully Tim will be better, and we'll see him here at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, keep your stop losses tight and stay hydrated, bros.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms News got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.
Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros.